Well, the Tampa Bay Rays split the series versus the Kansas City Royals, but take 2 of 3 over the weekend.
It was a Royals split. Yes, I just came up with that, and we will tell you why that is good news starting right now.
You are Locked On Rays, your daily Tampa Bay Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, my name is Kevin Weiss.
I'm Ulises Sambrano.
And we're the host of the Locked On Rays podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Thank you for making us your very first listen every day. Be sure to check out and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Locked On Rays. You can also find us on all the other podcasting platforms and social media, Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Rays. And we do love your emails and voice memos. LockedOnRays@gmail.com. Send them there. Well, the Tampa Bay Rays, just running through it real quickly. On Thursday, they lost to the Royals 5-6. On Friday, they won 11-3. On Saturday, they lost 9-4. And then on Sunday, they won 3-1, splitting the series, of course. Ulises, it is a Monday, which means it's time for our takeaways, observations, what we learned from the weekend that was. What do you got?
I've got two, one pitching side, one offensively speaking. Let's start with the pitching one because it's rather quick. Tyler Glasnow, to see this guy who just had his worst 2023 start on Tuesday. Then there was talk about his heater losing some speed because of some mechanical, funkiness that was happening. And then he adjusted that with Kyle's help and his work. And even throughout this start on Sunday, he said after the game that he was still kind of like opening up a little bit too early. And that Kyle came up and said, "Hey, you're doing it again." And he's like, "No, I'm not." And then he threw a pitch and he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm doing it." So to see that back-to-back start for the work that was put in and to actually get that adjustment done, that was pretty cool because he got shellacked, man. 4 1/3, 6 hits allowed, 6 runs. It was just a mess. And then on Sunday, he goes 5 shutout with 12 Ks. So for those keeping track at home, if you pitch 5 innings, that's 15 outs. That means that 12 of the 15 outs were strikeouts. That's a gimme. I like that.
Yeah. And only 1 walk. And I think, which it deduces from the 12 strikeouts, like 26 swing and misses. Very, very impressive stuff. That was more vintage class now that we're accustomed to seeing. I don't think people realize how difficult it is for a guy of that size and with those types of limbs to get out of whack mechanically so easy and trying to be able to find it back. That's why Kyle Snyder is so valuable as a pitching coach, because he knows what it's like being 6'6", 6'5" himself. But Glasnow's too good to have, multiple bad outings in a row like that. So hopefully this is the start and continuation of much more stronger appearances from him, because that is certainly what the Rays need.
Yes,
you would like to have, 6, 7, just, hey, give us innings to prevent having to use the bullpen as much as possible, quite frankly.
Yeah. I mean, not only because, the stamina, but you can't just run these arms in the bullpen down because you're just giving 5 and dive guys. Now, Tyler was at 88 pitches with 5 innings. I would have liked to see him go one more, and I was hoping to see that. I see Kevin Kelly warming up. I'm like, okay, that's not happening. But it definitely was not happening after the 20-minute delay with the umpire thing. And I was like, oh, okay, that's definitely the book on Tyler, which is a shame. I would have liked to see, maybe 6 from him, but maybe next time. Offensively speaking, I want to give a shout out to a guy that we don't really talk about a lot in the spotlight, but we do talk about him in little bits. Jose Siri, man. I mean,
oh yeah,
dude, last 7 games in 22 at-bats, 7 hits, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, 1 stolen base. The guy is killing it. That's a 318 average with a 591 slugging. That's yummy. And actually, if you go through his whole slash line, he has the perfect slash line that you talk about when you have a player, a 3-4-5 slash line, a 300 average, 400 on base, and a 500 slugging. So that's awesome. Now, I was digging into his numbers a little bit. He does better when he's in the 8th or the 9th spot. He likes to be hidden. He likes to be on the back of that lineup, which I think is great. It's like the Willie Adames feature bug that he had with the Rays. Like, hey, just put me down here. I'm comfortable here. I can succeed here. Maybe it's also a combination of him being comfortable there and also pitchers just mentally kind of being like, okay, this is the bottom of the order. I'm fine. I can get away with a cookie or two. You can't, because the guy is co-leading the team in home runs with Randy Arozarena, which is insane to me to think about, that Jose Siri is co-leading the team in home runs after 81 games. And one last number here for you, Kevin.
Yes.
With runners in scoring position, he's hitting 405 with a 1307 OPS. Yes, you heard me right. That's a 1.307 OPS with runners in scoring position. The guy likes the spotlight.
That's yummy. And I like that you mentioned Jose Siri, because I would like to dive a little bit more into him and his ability, because he, among others, really showcased this past weekend. But before we do that and get into much more, we have to tell you this. For a championship team, it's all about making sure every player is a perfect fit. It's the same when it comes to your vehicle. Every part needs to fit just right. So the next time you need parts and accessories, head over to eBay Motors. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, you can be sure every part you need fits just right the first time around. Just add your ride to My Garage and look for the green check to know the part will fit or your money back. Because just like in sports, confidence is the name of the game when you shop on eBay Motors. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll be back in the game in no time. After all, it's easy to bring home a win when the right parts are guaranteed. Get the right parts, the right fit, and the right prices on ebaymotors.com. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. So, yeah, Ulises, I'm glad you brought up Jose Siri getting a couple homers in this series. I should note that on Thursday, he went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts. So to come back the next day, that Friday evening, on that 11-3 win, giving the Rays an early lead with that 3-run bomb was really, really impressive. And if you notice about his swing, he doesn't even have to or need to follow through all the way to get the distance. And my warning to pitchers is don't leave a hanging slider or breaking ball up there, because he will pull that down the line. Or, as we've seen on other occasions, if you throw a fastball middle, he'll hit it up the middle, straightaway center for a deep shot. So it's really funny. I continue to be amazed at Jose Siri, because let's remember, or let's keep this in mind with him. Co-leader in home runs, correct?
Yep.
In just 48 games.
I know. Yeah.
He's only played 48 games and has, I think, 160 or so at bats. So the home run to at bat ratio is like Mark McGwire, Barry Bonds-esque.
Yeah. And they put up an overlay yesterday during the game. Since May 7th, he's got like a dozen home runs, dude.
Yeah.
Which is insane, because that means that he's in track with Shohei Ohtani, Aaron Judge. Like, those are the names that he's flirting with.
Right. And I would think that, and somebody would have to go in and dive into the numbers a little bit more specifically, but his power, speed, and defense combo, and by defense, I'm talking about outs above average and arm strength, it's got to be the best in the league, or way up there, top 3, top 5 overall. Like, who has that level of max exit velocity compared to that level of outs above average, compared to that level of sprint speed, compared to that level of arm strength? He kind of, in a way, going back a little bit, I get some Carlos Gomez vibes as to what he could be in his potential. We look down the road 8, 10, 12 years from now, I could legitimately see Jose Siri having a 24, 25 career WAR, a couple all-star appearances, a gold glove to his name, and just a really, really good, solid career. It's kind of amazing that he only has 7 stolen bases as to this point, because I would think that entering the season, it would be reversed, that you'd have him having 7 home runs and 14 stolen bases versus the other way around. So and that's not a concern to me. Like, we know he has the speed. Like, that's not an issue whatsoever.
That's what I want to kind of dig into it, and I'm glad that you brought it up because 14 home runs, 7 stolen bases. You would have thought at the beginning of the season that was going to be turned around. Is he not getting the right setups, matchups to steal? Is he being? I don't think he's being cautious, because I don't think he has that in him to be that cautious.
Right. I mean, he's one of only 6 players to steal home this season, and maybe it's a combination of, like we saw over the weekend, if he draws a walk or he gets on first one way or the other, and the opposition makes a bad defensive play and he's already at third. He's going first to third, so he doesn't have an opportunity to steal second or third. And the only way you're going to get a bag, I guess, is with a wild pitch coming home.
And you know what? It's actually working, because those scenarios that you're saying have happened multiple times, and that's just reputation, baby. That's just them knowing, oh, damn, Jose's in at first. Like, I gotta be perfect. Like, they're overthinking too much, and then the mistakes happen. And so that's great. Even his reputation, by not even stealing that many bags. Like, what if you look at MLB stolen bags leaders, he ain't gonna be there with 7.
Right. But he is at least shrewd enough on the bases to give the pitcher and the catcher the impression that I could run at literally any time, with the leads and the dekes and just the funny business, the swag factor, if you will, which, again, I mean,
it's mind games on the base paths. Taylor Walls has double the amount, more than double the amount of stolen bases than Jose Siri. It's incredible. Yeah.
And that's the other thing too about Jose Siri, is he really, really is fun to watch, even with Wander Franco coming back over this weekend and showcasing himself. I mean, if we were to put a poll up or a question up on social media, who leads the team in swag factor, I mean, you might have to go with Siri, after the way he hits a home run with the movements and the bat flip and showing off the electric bolt tattoo. And just every catch he makes has to have a little pizzazz or finish to it, whether it's a routine play or a diving play, whatever it may be. I would go on record and say he has maybe more swag, more flair than Randy and Wander. They might be more complete players at this juncture, but Siri certainly endears himself in that end. And of course, the Rays pitchers have to love him, just based on, hey, in momentum changing moments, he can usually step up to the plate or defensively in a big moment. And that's kind of where I go back in a way to Carlos Gomez. I think of, him having legitimately a point in his future of, he could have 23 homers and 34 steals, or 24 homers and 40 steals. He has that kind of talent to his name. So I'll be really curious to see what he does going forward. And I think it was just an opportunity of the Rays giving him a chance, giving him an opportunity, and saying, hey, center field job is yours. We're not going to have to play around with, you're not going to have to worry about playing time, more or less, where that I think was an issue at times in Houston. He just never really got his fair shake or fair shot for whichever reason it may have been. But it really has turned out to be a wonderful marriage between him and the Rays. And I know Kevin Kiermaier is doing good things with the Toronto, but he doesn't even compare in the power numbers and OPS number. I mean, he's doing fine. He's doing solid. He's, at least, I mean, from my understanding, staying healthy, but
he could be an all-star. Kevin Kiermaier could be an all-star. Something he never was able to do with the Rays, which kind of sucks a little bit, that he gets to be an all-star with the Jays and now with the Rays. But
yeah, you rack up 32 WAR in a Rays uniform and never make an all-star appearance.
Yeah, insane. But look, talking to Siri about Siri, like, I think the flash is also awesome, but the giving a young player, job security might do wonders for their mental health and their mental fortitude. Like, hey, look, this is your job. Don't worry about it. Like, this is your job. You're the guy. There's nobody behind you. You've got this. And so we've seen him blossom and take that to the next step and next level. Like they did that with Willie Adames. They did that with Wander Franco. Like, nobody's going to take your job. This is yours. And I think that's a really good thing for young players to hear.
I think the other thing too with it is the Rays allow players to be themselves and expose their personality, and that in turn makes guys comfortable and want to be a part of the organization. So I think there's some merit to that as well. And I know it's not as fun to talk about with Jose Siri. We like talking about the running ability and the defensive plays in the highlight reel worthy home runs, but just the base hit, I know we haven't even mentioned the strikeout rate and the swing and miss. That is an issue. That is a problem. That is something that he needs to bring to his game. And I don't know if that's ever going to come through, which is why I went back to the Carlos Gomez example of Gomez could give you a lot, but he'd also strike out, 140, 150, 160 times in a year. The strikeout rate was really high. But with Siri, his base hits, like he just really has a knack for keeping the ball in the middle of the field. And just, hey, RBI single, whatever it is, it's just, if you look at his spray chart, it's just a lot of over the head of the shortstop, the second baseman, or right over the spot of second base. Like it is a no doubt base hit.
Yeah, when he pulls, it's usually like a home run or a double, but his singles, you're right, it's up the middle. It's you're even against his hand, against his power to right field. So that's good. Now I want to go back to something that you mentioned because it kind of ties into the whole Wander being benched thing. The Rays can let people be themselves and let their personalities flourish, and that is a good thing. People,
yes,
everybody watching and listening, that is a good thing. To let people be themselves. That's great. That doesn't mean that just because we let you be yourself, that you can be a you-know-what to other people, that you can be rude, that you cannot be a good teammate. So there is a line. So for all of you that maybe want to do the whole old man yelling at the clouds sort of thing, know that there is a line. Like you can, the Rays know that line. You be yourself. Be wearing all the necklaces and the jewelry and the neon belts and shoes and do all that stuff. We don't care. As long as you're a good teammate, as long as you hustle, as long as you're being good to everybody in that clubhouse. Like there is a line.
Yeah, it stops at, I guess, Manny being Manny. Like you got to take care of your business on the field and off the field. But as far as, being yourself to a certain extent, that's where.
And I love that. And I love that because I love the fact that they let players do whatever they want, quote unquote, as in like be themselves. Love that. And then I love that there is some accountability. There is accountability. Like, hey, no, we do not do this. We do not put up with that. That is not going to happen. I love that too, because that's the best of both worlds. And you're seeing it in another AL East team with the Yankees that is not having a lot of accountability with some of their players. That they kind of let things slide, mental errors and not so mental errors. Like, I I am very glad that this organization does not do what the Evil Empire does.
Yeah, and I think that the Rays should be a model of what pretty much every other sports organization and private public organizations should allow or focus on to some extent. I know there's so much talk about analytics and numbers guys, but they really do have kind of a foothold on the emotional quotient and the human quotient and the people skills. I think that makes a difference as well. So, all right, moving along here, Ulises, did you want to get to some unique or standout YouTube comments from the last couple of days?
I have a couple. We got a late pet peeve one from old time listener Sarah Giberson saying, when speaking with a fella about baseball or any sport, I get asked, name 5 players from the past. Please don't discredit my fandom and current baseball knowledge because I'm convinced I know more about the sports regardless of my gender. So, by the way, that's definitely my PC way of saying it because she said something else. But I bet a lot of women do get that. It must be a pet peeve that does not end. Also, at 643 double play or DP says, I appreciate Kevin always signing off with stay safe. I have avoided countless catastrophes as a result. So look at that, Kevin. You are helping the traffic in the Tampa Bay area. Hopefully it's in the Tampa Bay area or wherever it is. You're saving people's day. So that's good, man.
There we go. I appreciate that. 643 double play. I don't know if you're in the Tampa Bay area, but I'm always thinking about people driving on I-4 when I say statement, because you always got to have your head on a swivel, always got to be careful, no matter if it's 6 a.m., 6 p.m., or in the middle of the night, wherever it may be. That can be a danger zone for sure. So, yeah, we appreciate those comments. Keep them coming. I do know that the Rays have an off day today, so tomorrow we'll preview the series versus the Arizona Diamondbacks, maybe look back a little bit at the history and the strong moments of Evan Longoria in a Rays uniform. Yep. We also put something out on Twitter, Ulises. I don't know if we want to save that or go ahead and dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, we can. Do you want me to read it, or do you have it?
I have it up here. So yeah, we got enough time. So believe it or not, the Rays have played 81 games. So we are officially at the mid-season checkup point, and we asked the listeners, what are your thoughts about MLB's team with the best record, 54-27? So just running through these here, Argenis Rashad says, it's still incredible how this team went from anemic offense to best team in just a few moments, not spending big money, relying on the people, and they've, bring only Zach Eflin in when we fans were desperate for bats. Proud Cat says they're doing an incredible job all across the board, persevering. People who whine because it's been a bit more challenging lately are massive losers with mommy issues. Okay. Wow. Really swinging at the fences there with that comment. John says, disappointed. It's unacceptable that we've lost 27 games. Speaking it into existence, even though this isn't relevant. Jordan Hicks at the deadline. Scott Leonard says, overall, a great first half of the season. Hopefully we can keep it going in the second half and get the number 1 seed in the American League. And then Frank Colombo says, just an MLB team with the best record? ? Not the best team in MLB? Interesting. Or are we going to keep this one up for debate? Power rankings, Rays, Braves, Orioles, Rangers, D-backs. I do think the Braves have been consistently impressive all year. Big upcoming 2 weeks for the Rays.
Okay, let's stop with the Frank thing. Frank, buddy, you're really busting us right now? But for semantics? Come on, I mean, they do have the best record.
Objectively, that the Twitter post said best record as opposed to best team, because then you might get commenters from all over saying, well, how do you know they're necessarily the best team? And then you got people looking at, just bringing up all sorts of arguments. I mean, exactly. You should see the types of comments and responses that came through with the Locked On Podcast Network MLB Power Rankings. I mean, that was just a disaster.
That was anarchy at its best. I thought the Joker had been unleashed again.
Next time, turn the comments off if you can. I don't know if you can on Twitter, but
I don't know. Teach me how to do that, please.
Yeah,
I'm a boomer on Twitter. Teach me, please. No. I mean, look, man, Frank. They are the best. They have the best record in MLB, but the best team is debatable, right? I think they're definitely in the conversation.
Yeah,
but I mean, do the Braves not get a piece of that pie? Would the Texas Rangers not get a piece of the pie? I feel like that would be a little bit too snobby for Rays fans to just dictate that they're the best team. Like, I mean, don't the Rangers and have already passed the Rays and runs scored and run differential? Like, what is the best team? Like, if it's the record, yeah, you're right. Then it's Rays. But I feel like it's a little bit pretentious to just say best team in MLB.
See, we're trying to have some journalistic integrity here on the Locked On Rays podcast for once.
Well, some other Rays outlets just are very positive no matter what. We kind of don't want to do that. We kind of want to see both sides of the issue here.
And hopefully people appreciate that.
Hopefully. Although people like to be in echo chambers.
Yeah, especially on social media. That is very noticeable. One last thing here before we jump off, or two last things. Love the idea and the follow through of BA and Dwayne Stats broadcasting from Randy Land. I mean, that is just being a man of the people, and the Rays organization being self-aware, Bally Sports being self-aware, and really taking advantage of the moment. So that was awesome. Hopefully there's more events and opportunities like that. The second thing is the Rays do officially and finally have a new pre and post game radio host, also doing This Week in Rays Baseball, Chris Adams Wall. So he'll take the mantle from Neil Solondz, who will actually have some more free time and more flexibility on his hands. I don't know if you've gotten to listen to any of the calls or broadcast of Chris Adams-Wall.
Oh, no.
Okay. No, I've heard bits and pieces. He sounds very good, seems to have a nice down-to-earth vibe, and just seems like a man of the people, chill, cool dude, younger guy. He was the AA broadcaster for the Montgomery Biscuits. So I think it's really cool that the Rays hired and promoted from within. So if you have an opportunity to read and look at his background, I'd highly recommend that. Maybe we'll get him on the show at some point. But
you know what? Yeah. You remember when we were talking about this maybe like a month ago or so?
Yeah.
We stressed that please don't make it just some dude on the radio station that barely we need it to be a baseball first guy. I don't even care if this guy knows how many downs there are. I don't need him to know that. I don't need him to know the Heisman Trophy winner from 97. That's not what he's about. So this is awesome. I really like that. And congratulations, Chris. And I hope it goes awesome. Fantastic. Yeah. But I really want to go back to the first one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My standing ovation for them, Dwayne, NBA, and the whole TV production team, the Bally Sports team, to do the whole play-by-play at Randy Land. That was bleeping awesome. Like that is why that's entertainment. Like that's what we're looking at. That's why we're watching, because we want to be entertained, and that's entertaining. It must have been so difficult though to not go to the bathroom for 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
For Dwayne NBA. So hey, good on you.
Right.
Good on you, fellas. You guys know that you have bladders of steel, so good job.
Yeah, and creatures of habit, maybe they're wearing Dupins for all we know. It's a possibility. You never know. But creatures of habit and guys that have been working in that industry for so long, taking them out of their quote unquote comfort zone of the broadcast booth and behind home plate, and having those angles and look and putting them in a new environment like that, and to be able to handle that, I think was really cool, because it might be an easier sell to some more than others. So the fact that they were amenable to doing something like that, I think was really awesome. So glad you brought that up. And again, just real quickly, circling back to Chris Adams-Wall, like you mentioned, hiring or getting a baseball first mind or mindset, and a guy who's been with the organization for quite a while now, calling AA games, or I think like since 2015, 2016, 2017, something like that. So he knows the minor league prospects, the coaches, everybody more or less coming through. So he has some of those internal built-in relationships with, like, hey, Josh Lowe, can you do a feature with me? Just it makes it so much easier from that perspective. Guys who know who you are and you know who they are, and it just makes it that much easier going forward. So really looking forward to seeing more of that as well. So all right, there it is for Monday's episode. We'll be back on Tuesday. In the meantime, hope you all have a wonderful day. Stay safe on I-4 and other thoroughfares. And hope you all have a wonderful day, and keep listening to us. Talk to you later.